is so good to be here with all of you today. We're going to talk about special worship service, and it's called All Saints Day. Have any of you ever heard of All Saints Day? No. Yeah, it's not something I was super familiar with until kind of more recently in my life. Well, on All Saints Day, one of the things we do is we celebrate the memory of all the people that we have loved that have died before us. And we call them our saints. Why do you think we might call them our saints?
Because saint is another term for loved ones.
I've heard the word in the Bible before, I think, or something.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, you'll hear about saints in the Bible. And that's why we at church celebrate these people, because you're on the right track. They're people who we love, who taught us about life and maybe faith and how to be good humans, and maybe they taught us about love. These are important things, and we want to remember them in our hearts, and we celebrate that in their memory in worship. Well, sometimes when we remember and celebrate the loved ones that we've lost, it can bring some weird feelings. Maybe sometimes they're hard feelings. What are some feelings you might experience when you've lost someone you love?
I think you might feel a little bit of grief and a very big loss. Mad.
Oh, mad. Yeah, absolutely. Did you know sometimes when you lose someone, you can feel peace? Maybe after, if they've been suffering for a long time, they're not suffering anymore.
Yeah.
Or maybe even sometimes you feel joy because you sit around and remember happy, wonderful memories. All of these things, the sadness, the madness, the joy, the peace, all of those things are grief, right? And here's the thing about grief. It happens differently for everybody. And it happens every time we experience it, it happens a little differently. So I'm going to use an example here. You all know what I'm going to do with this pot? Michaela!
Don't mess with it.
Make soup. That's right. That's right. So when I make soup, I cooked up some taco meat in here already. I've got some taco meat and some onions and taco seasoning already in here. But when I make taco soup, I don't always make it the same way every time. Sometimes I use the things I have on hand. So let's say I'm going to do some rotel and put in some corn. And sometimes I want, maybe I'm feeling a little bit more like I want a little more tomatoes than just rotel. So I'm going to put some more tomatoes in. And I put in all these different things, and they're still all making taco soup, but it's just a little different every time I make it. Sometimes I only cook it just for like 10 or 15 minutes to warm it up. And sometimes I let it sit all day long and slowly cook and fill up the house with a delicious smell. You're probably wondering, Sarah, what does soup have to do with the feelings we feel when we have lost a loved one? Well, when we experience grief, like I said, it's a little different each time. And sometimes it's going to need a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Maybe it's a little sadness, a little anger. Maybe it's a little joy. Maybe it's a lot of celebrating their life and their memory. And all of these feelings are good, and they're right, and they're normal. And they all happen a little differently. I'm going to need some of your help, though, because sometimes when we grieve, we need some help. So I have two seasonings here. I have regular ranch seasoning and spicy ranch seasoning. Which one should I add to my soup?
Spicy. Regular.
Spicy. Regular.
Regular. I need a tiebreaker. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to just mix them up. I can't see them. And we'll just put whichever one I want, whichever one I pick in. What is it? Regular. Oh, spicy. It's spicy. So we're going to do some spicy soup, which will be good on a nice cold day. So, like I said, it's normal to feel sad and mad and peace and hope even when we lose someone. And what we need to remember is God gave us all of these different feelings. And when we feel them, one of the things that we remember is we don't have to be alone in our feelings. We get to also experience them in our own unique ways. we get to put a little bit of this, a dash of that. And sometimes it'll be short and quick and life will feel back
Dash
to
of
normal.
this.
And
Dash
sometimes
of
it might
that.
be a little long and take a while for life to feel normal again.
Dash of that. Dash of it.
But all of it is good. All of processing our grief is important, and we don't have to do it alone. We have people that help us along the way, like y'all got to help me pick my seasoning, and God is with us through it all, in our anger, in our sadness, in our joy, in our peace. Remember to be gentle with yourself, and it takes time. There's this really cool book
So first,
called A Tear Soup. This is where I got my inspiration.